Welcome, everybody. This is Debbie Levitt, and welcome to another show on the Customer Experience, Customer Centricity YouTube channel, also live on LinkedIn and Twitch. I've got a fan blowing on me today because it's a really hot summer week here. If the fan is bothering you sound-wise, please let me know and I will turn it off, but I'm really hoping to keep it on. So our every other Monday show is going to be a live CX audit and assessment, and we got a recommendation from someone that we take a look at the MTA.info website, which is the website you might use if you're trying to plan mass transit around New York City. But before we jump into that, thanks as always to everybody who is supporting either of our YouTube channels. This channel is new, and so we don't have a join button yet, but the Delta CX channel does. And so thanks to everybody, past, present, and future, who are keeping me in streaming software and chocolate chips. So thanks as always. Okay, this will be an audience participation show. So as I'm moving through this stuff, I really want to hear what, I can't hear your fan, but the fan is blowing here in New York too. Yeah, we're going to be talking about New York in today's show. So hello, Jonathan. Yeah, if the fan's bothering anybody, let me know. It's just out of camera here. You can see I've blocked it out. As we're going to do here on the new channel, the new shows are shorter. So we are counting down 20 minutes, and that's about it. Hi, Deanna. So let's take a look right away at the New York Transit website. Let me press a couple of buttons here and see if I can get this up. Let's see, it should look like this. Let's see if that works. Yes, okay, so here's me and the chat room and my browser, and it's just a private browser, and I'm looking at MTA.info, and we're going to take the kind of CX angle today of what is the customer experience of this website if we have never been to New York City before, but we want to be economical and we want to try the mass transit. Hi, Abdul Bazit. And don't forget to subscribe on the new channel, everybody. So how are we going to get from where we want to go to where we want to go? Now, when we first hit the website, there's some things here that probably ask more questions than they answer. Hi, Janice. So for example, service status. Okay, in general, we probably understand what that means, but local to express 6. What does that mean? This is not totally obvious to someone who's never done the New York City transit system before. Jonathan says, I've never used this website. Yeah, hi, Chihuat. Some reroutes, 5. Delays, 4. If any of you have never been to New York City before, so those of you who know New York, don't say anything. If you've never been to New York City before, what do you think these letters or numbers mean? Could they represent an amount of a delay or an amount of problems? What does the code mean? You know, we almost have hieroglyphs here. What does this code mean? Maybe if you've heard about New York City Transit, you know what it means, but we must think about knowledge and knowledge design and realize that there might be many people visiting this who have no idea why there are all of these letters and numbers in all of these different colors. You know, this L is gray. Does it mean something that it's gray? Is it not working today? It's grayed out. So we must think about, what does the newbie coming to the site experience, and does this make sense to them? Michael says, I'm interested to hear your session. Okay. Sorry, I got the edge of what you said cut off. Yes, well, everyone's welcome to lurk. You can join in as much as you like. That's right. We know the subway system too well. Certainly I do as well. So for those of you who are new to the New York City subway, let's imagine that I'm not going to tell you what this is, and you're just going to try to get from place to place. Let's imagine you're landing at JFK Airport, and for whatever reason, you're going to grab your suitcases and you're going to go straight to the Empire State Building. How are you going to do that? Karen says, yeah, this is my confusion. I can't guess what this means. Chihuat says, I can guess that Duke Ellington had a song called Take the A Train. Yeah, so maybe A is a train. Okay, but what kind of train? Is it above the ground? Is it below the ground? You know, we don't know this yet. So it says that we can plan a trip, and let's try that. Let's say I want to go from JFK Airport. So let's type in JFK. Now notice a whole bunch of things start coming up because they have JFK somewhere in them. Sutphin Boulevard, Archer Avenue, Howard Beach, JFK Airport, JFK Terminal 7, JFK Terminal 4, Blue Parking. Wow. JFK Airport. So we have a JFK Airport Queens and we have a JFK Airport Jamaica Queens. What's the difference? What's Jamaica? Now again, I have local knowledge here, so I'm playing the newbie today. I'm trying to pretend I'm Karen or someone who's never been to New York City and is looking at this going, whoa, I'm just get me from the airport to the Empire State Building. I don't know which of these airport things to pick. You know what? I'll just pick the first one. Okay, JFK Airport in Queens, New York. I want to go to the Empire State Building. Here it is. Empire State Building on West 34th Street. No, I don't want to go to Empire, Michigan. That would be a city in another state. Why is that even here? Why would the New York City transit system try to direct you outside of the realm of the New York City transit system? This is very strange. Does the See Save Trips show you anything for a first-time user? Great question. You haven't saved any trips yet. So there you go. So yeah, I didn't even notice that at first, but it's a great question. Thank you, Preeti. So I want to go to the Empire State Building for really no good reason. Leave now, sure. Travel preferences, Subway, bus, express bus. Again, if I've never been to New York City, what's the difference between a bus and an express bus? I might not really know. Remember, so much of what we're talking about in these audits is going to be about knowledge, but we should also be looking at copy, navigation, information architecture, messaging, accessibility. There's so much for us to look at. Jonathan says, why would it even show Michigan? Chiwat says it's powered by Google, so it's not a customized search result. I don't know. Route preferences. I want to start my journey on a train, but then I want to end up on a bus. Said no one ever, unless they had very good specific local knowledge that might be something they prefer. How much walking they want to do is good, especially if you know you can't walk very far or for very long. Minimize my transfers, minimize my travel time, and minimize my walking. So if I've never been to New York City before, I'd probably say minimize my transfers. I want to change trains or buses or things as little as possible, because the more I transfer, the more I have to figure it out. So I'll just keep these settings. Okay, this is still here. Do I want it to be an accessible trip? We don't totally know what that means, and Malika Fraser wrote a great article on our R Before D Medium publication about accessible trips using the London transport system, and how a lot of that wasn't even clear even to her uncle who uses a wheelchair. Jonathan's talking about fare zones. Let's pretend we don't even know what Jonathan's talking about. Let's see what this system says to plan the trip. So here we go. Spin, spin, spin. JFK Airport to the Empire State Building. Okay, so we've got a map. We have lots of dots over here. I don't know what all of these dots mean. Are these going to be different stops for me? What do I need to know here? Then we've got a long reddish orangish line with a circle in the middle. Is there a stop there? I'm not sure. We have a picture of what might be a train here, or maybe an angry Japanese robot. Chiwat says, how much walking would be better for me in minutes? I can never imagine what a half a mile or half kilometer is. Yeah, that's true too. What's the suggested transport based on the weather? Yeah, that's another good question. I guess if the weather's not good, you probably want to do less walking, or maybe fewer buses, because buses are above ground and the subway is below ground. Great questions. Jonathan said too much. So let's take a look at the first thing we're seeing. We're seeing walk to What is this icon? Is this a cable car? It's some sort of trainy, trammy thing that seems to be top suspended. So what is this? Are there cable cars in New York? What is this? Go to Jamaica Station and then take this other thing, which looks like it could be a train. There's tracks under here, and it's orange, so maybe there's color-coded things once I get there, to the Long Beach branch, and then walk some more. Now, if I click on it, I get more detailed directions. Find my way to Terminal 1. Now, if I'm not in Terminal 1, then I might want to go back to the saved search and do this again. Take the JFK, but like, what am I taking? I mean, it's not really clear. Am I taking a train, a tram? Is this a funky bus? Is this a light rail? I don't know what this is. It just says JFK Terminal 1 to Jamaica Station, JFK all terminals. Is this more details? Go northwest, because we all know when we're facing northwest. But let's also talk about how could this be improved. We can see that there's a lot of things here that are just not going to be clear to a new visitor to New York City. So for those of you live in the audience and those of you watching the video later, what are some things that would make this clearer, more helpful, more actionable, easier to understand, less to think about? What could this do or be that would help us out? And also, if I said leave now, why is it giving me 8:54 p.m.? Because isn't it right now in New York 9 in the morning? Didn't we say leave now? Isn't now 9 in the morning in New York? Jonathan, you're in New York. What time is it? Why is it giving me 8:54 p.m.? Sure, I'm in another time zone, so I could be throwing the system off a little bit, but you would think if we said leave now, that it would have a time that is either soon to New York time, or even if it's confused, soon to my time, which is 3:11 p.m. Can refresh it again, 3:13 p.m. This is still very strange. And again, what do these circles mean? Does this circle mean I have to change trains again there? Is that an important stop? I don't know. Yeah, Jonathan says it's 9:14 in the morning. So why am I getting an 8:54 p.m. suggestion? Chiwat says, for starters, tell me where I am according to your system. Yeah, that's a good question. I guess that I must be somewhere in JFK Airport. Now, I can't ask the system to locate me live because I am not in New York, and so that's just going to go very badly. But yeah, that would be helpful if the system could locate me now and say, the next best thing for you to do is go to Terminal 1 or Terminal 4 or Terminal 7, or stay where you are. There's transport right near you. Go walk this way. So yes, it would be great if this were rate this trip plan. I don't even know. That implies that I know if this is a good or bad trip plan. I don't know. But let's go back and let's see a different trip plan. This one has some sort of warning on it, but when I hover over it, I don't get a warning. This one is significantly longer. This one is ridiculously longer. Why would you recommend a 6-hour trip for me to get what appears to be not that far, right? These things look close. I'm landing in a New York airport. I'm trying to go to a New York landmark. Why would you recommend to me a 6-hour journey? This is really tough. So let's take a look at the second choice and see if we can make sense of this. Okay, so again, there's lots of dots on here. Do we know what these mean? These might be stops that this A thing makes. But do I have to do something there, or is it just showing me where stops happen to be? Not clear. I can hover over these and they say Broadway Junction, and yeah, and names of places, I guess, or streets, but I don't know. So again, it's telling me take top suspended cable car from JFK Terminal 1 to the Howard Beach station. Now, for some reason, they've decided to show this as a dark blue line, and then they're showing the A train as an also dark blue line. So I think that's going to be confusing to me visually, and certainly these aren't colorblind friendly back when we had other colors. So it looks like I am changing from something to something else. I'm changing from top suspended cable car, which by the way is not a cable car, but I'm just calling it that because of what the icon looks like. It's actually an airport train. To the A, which isn't clear what it is. Is the A a bus? Is the A a train? Light rail? We don't know. And there's a service advisory, so warning, some downtown trains may run local from 168th Street to 145th Street. Is this service advisory relevant to us? If we are going from JFK Airport to the Empire State Building, are we going to bump into 168th Street or 145th Street? If you're new to New York City, you have no idea. You might wonder if this is the wrong train or mode of transportation for you because you just don't know. Chihuat says, and the 6-hour journey is off-peak. Hi, Manuel. So this is all very difficult and strange. I can see how this would really not help someone new to New York City at all. But let's go back and see more about what's going on the website. There's other questions that we might have about using the New York City system. Now, first of all, notice there's almost no copy on the page. There's no explanation, and that can be good because we don't want a lot of explanation because we want things to be logical and intuitive. So don't take that as a sign that we need to add more copy and add lots of explanation. People don't love that. They don't want to read it anyway. So the simplicity of this seems nice, but it sure seems to assume that I have a lot of knowledge that I don't. But let's say I'm wondering, how much will this cost me? I mean, what does it cost to get from the airport to a famous landmark? $2? $1 million? We don't even know. So let's see if we can find this out by looking up fares. Everything you need to know about fares. Okay, subways and buses. For most riders on subways and local limited and select bus services, $2.75. Express buses are $6.75. You know, we just had that trip plan and it didn't, I don't remember it saying this is what it will cost you. Did it say that? Oh, look, it's erased our thing. Ouch, ouch. Okay, hold on. Recent searches. Did it tell us what these things would cost? Because that would probably be a question someone new would have. Now it's telling me the Howard Beach station is my best way to go. Or I can do this thing. Does it say what this costs? No, it doesn't. So just a thought there. Let's open this fares and tolls in a new tab so we don't lose this other one. Ana Lucia, oh, I forgot about the new hour, but I'm on time. Hi, Malika. We were just talking about you before with the great article you wrote about your uncle trying to find the wheelchair-friendly transit. So here we are. So express buses. Am I taking one? Am I not? Will I accidentally get on one and be surprised? I don't know. Tap to pay with your fare with a contactless credit or debit card, smartphone, OmniCard, or pay with a Metro card. Okay, railroads. Am I taking a railroad? What's it? Is the railroad the train? Is the railroad the tram? Is the railroad the cable car? Is the railroad... What is the railroad? We have here LIRR. You don't know what that is. And Metro North. You don't know what that is. And here we are back here. Do we see anything here that says you are taking LIRR or Metro North or a train? This looks like a train. Is this a railroad? Is this a different kind of train? This isn't clear. Am I above ground? Am I below ground? I don't know. Now, I've got local knowledge, having grown up in the area, so I can tell you the Ronkonkoma train line, and I can pronounce that, is part of the LIRR, which stands for the Long Island Railroad. But I don't know. So even the page that says it's going to be everything we need to know about fares and tolls, I mean, the page has an okay layout. It's got some good visual hierarchy. We've got some bullet points, but I'm still not sure what any of this is going to cost me. But it sounds like I'm just going to need an Omni, or I'm just going to wave my phone with Google Wallet at everything I do and hope for the best. I mean, that's what I've been doing. I was recently in London. I waved my phone at everything. I had no idea what anything was costing me. And at the end of the day, they would charge my card and I would go, well, okay, nothing I can do about that now. So I would say this still isn't clear. This is definitely not written for the visitor. This is not written for the newbie. This is written for the people who already know the inside lingo. They know what LIRR is. They know what an A is, or a 1, or the JFK airport train. I think that there's a lot could be improved about a site like this. Anybody who's watching live, is there anything you feel here that this site is doing well? I think one thing the site does well is some of the layouts have a nice simplicity. I think the nice big map makes some visual sense. I think these directions have a nice layout, but I think they're lacking some key information that would really make or break my experience. You know, it's interesting because I think Google now gives you walking directions when you are changing trains. You know, we could compare this to a Google Maps experience when we ask Google Maps the same thing. We might get some more detailed information. For example, changing from the Long Island Railroad to the number 6, which I happen to know is a subway going north and south on the east side of Manhattan, mostly Manhattan. Those two tracks are not going to be next to each other. You're going to walk out into Grand Central Station, one of the largest and most famous train stations in North America, and you're going to have to start looking for stuff. But what are you looking for? Are you just looking for 6? Maybe it would help if you knew you were looking for subway or something else. Chiwat says the info on the fares and tolls page could be easier to scan with some visual cues. Lakpriya says, can this trip schedule export into a PDF? Good question. No, it looks like I can't really move this anywhere else. I can only rate it. Or I guess if I click on this, it says fares and tolls, but it's going to take me to this general page. So, ouch, ouch. So, in accordance with our new shorter programs, we're trying to do mostly 25-minute shows. So you heard that gong go off to remind me to wrap the show up. I think we've done a nice job just with a little quick audit and assessment looking at the MTA site. Now, we didn't get as far as accessibility. There wasn't too much copy for us to assess. So obviously, you can spend hours, if not longer, assessing and auditing websites and apps and systems to see what is the customer experience like, especially for someone who might be new to your company or system. So always think about that newbie user in mind and think about what knowledge they have and what knowledge they need to be successful. We always have Larry Marine to thank us for teaching that. Anne says, I just logged in. I'm not up to the moment, but recently took the train to New York City from Long Island, and it was the same day as the Belmont Stakes, which I think is a horse race. I would have loved to have been warned that the trains would be full of drunk, obnoxious yada yadas. Jonathan says, great questions throughout the audit. Yeah, and remember that my company does audits like these. You can do them too, and what I tend to do is I tend to do kind of a PowerPoint format where I take a screenshot of some aspect aspect of what I'm looking at, and then I write some bullet points next to it about what I think is going well here for the customer or user, and what I think is a concern or could be a poor experience or room for improvement. And that way you can deliver a report to your team, your client, whoever it might be. Now, the MTA didn't ask us to do this. I apologize if there's any MTA researchers or designers who might be excited about their site and proud of it, and chances are it's an upgrade from whatever they had before, but I think there's still room for improvement, especially if we want the site to make sense for the newbie user or visitor, which New York City has millions of each year because of all of the tourism. Malika says, I wish the websites would tell me which platform I should take. I'm not good with my bearing and I get lost. Yeah, Google has told me that, actually. Google Maps, where was I recently? But they were telling me platforms and it was super helpful. At first I didn't understand what I was looking at, and then I realized. Does it need a map? Yeah, that's a good question. If I'm new to New York, do I care that I'm going from this little circle over here to this little circle over here and then this little circle over here? I may or may not matter. I'm not carrying a compass, so I don't have to go, now I'm going north. Looks good. So I'm going to wrap up the show, and just a reminder that tomorrow is Office Hours Ask Us Anything with me and Dr. Nick. We're changing it from Office Hours to Q&A and AMA. So we'll see everybody on the Q&A tomorrow at 3 p.m. That will be a full hour show, but we're going to try to make the shows not longer than an hour and try to make most shows closer to about 25 minutes. If you have a suggestion of a site that you'd like us to walk through and poke at, on one of these Monday shows, please send it in. You can always send me a message on LinkedIn or wherever you find me. You can go to deltacx.com/links and send it in for where it says Think Out Loud. So just send it in and we can get it on the list. Chi Watt says, maybe someone can make money making sense of this as a service to tourists, like drivers touting their service outside airports. New York City actually has signs in airports, or at least they used to, saying if somebody other than a licensed taxi driver is trying to get you into their car, say no. Michael says, New Yorkers are very critical. What if they had a streamlined version and a tourist version? Michael's totally right. I think there should be a version for the newer user, and there should be a version for the power user or the local. So another great idea to think about the multiple audiences that a site like this has. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up the show. I'll see everybody tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Don't forget to join the new, it's over here now. The new channel is Customer Experience, Customer Centricity on YouTube. Please subscribe there, CX-CC. And hey, we will see you there tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.